as Chair of the Security Council Committee established pursuant to Resolution 1373 of 2001 concerning counterterrorism.
Thank you, Mr. President. As Chair of the Security Council Counter-Terrorism Committee, established pursuant to Resolution 1373 of 2001 concerning counter-terrorism, I have the honor to brief the Council on key aspects of the work undertaken by the Counter-Terrorism Committee since the beginning of this year, supported by its Executive Directorate, CTED. Over the past year, the committee has held several open and closed meetings with the support of CTED, addressing a variety of regional and thematic topics that are relevant to the implementation of Security Council resolutions. As the terrorist threat continues to persist and grow, particularly in the Middle East, Central Asia, South Asia, and several parts of Africa, the Counter-Terrorism Committee has paid a particular focus on these regions. The committee has also focused on other thematic areas, such as countering terrorist narratives and preventing and countering the use of the internet and new and emerging technologies for terrorist purposes, inviting the participation of civil society in briefings and open meetings of the CTC, underscoring the importance of protection of human rights while countering terrorism, as well as incorporating the full, equal, and meaningful participation of women into counter-terrorism responses over the past year. As mentioned earlier by the chair of the 1267 committee, the CTC organized an open briefing on 14 February 2022, focusing on the terrorist threat in South and Southeast Asia and CTED's work with the member states in the regions pursuant to Security Council Resolution 2395 of 2017. The meeting also highlighted the serious global security concerns due to the recent developments in Afghanistan and the possibility of it becoming a safe haven for Al-Qaeda and other terrorist groups. The Security Council demanded unequivocally that Afghan territory not be used for sheltering, training, planning, or financing terrorist acts and called for concerted action against all terrorist groups. While participating in the high-level international conference on counter-terrorism in Central Asia on 3 March 2022, the chair of the CTC underlined the high terrorist threat in Central Asia due to returning foreign terrorist fighters and developments in Afghanistan, and that the ties between the Taliban, largely through Haqqanis and Al-Qaeda, and foreign terrorist fighters remained close. Since the terrorist threat in the region continues to remain high, the committee is scheduled to organize an open briefing on Central Asia next month. The committee, along with the ISIL and Al-Qaeda Sanctions Committee, organized a joint open briefing on 7 April 2022, in which representatives of several member states, as well as civil society organizations from Africa, expressed their views on the threat posed by ISIL, Daesh, and Al-Qaeda affiliates, particularly underlining that terrorist groups in Africa aim to destabilize existing governance structures, including democratic institutions, and take advantage of intercommunal conflict to recruit fighters and secure resources. The committee underlined the need to differentiate political ideologies in a constitutional framework from violent, radical ideologies of terrorist groups. On thematic issues, the committee organized an open meeting on 23rd March in which participants highlighted the need for countering terrorist narratives and the use of the internet for terrorist purposes through innovative means. Taking a step further, the committee organized a special meeting on the overarching theme of countering the use of new and emerging technologies for terrorist purposes in Mumbai and New Delhi on 28-29 October 2022 with the generous support of the Government of India. The discussions were focused on the increased threat posed by the use for terrorist purposes of 3 significant technologies: 1, the internet and social media; 2, new payment technologies and fundraising methods; and 3, unmanned aerial systems, including drones. The committee members also paid tribute to all victims of terrorism, including the victims of the 26/11 Mumbai terrorist attacks in India. As an outcome of the special meeting, the committee adopted the Delhi Declaration on countering the use of new and emerging technologies for terrorist purposes. The declaration is a pioneer document aimed at enhancing the Council's approach to address this threat in a comprehensive and holistic manner. Among the listed items in the declaration is the decision to continue to work on recommendations on the 3 themes of the special meeting and the intention to develop a set of non-binding guiding principles to further assist member states in the implementation of the relevant Security Council resolutions on countering the use of new and emerging technologies for terrorist purposes. As part of its commitment to both prioritize and emphasize its work on these issues, the committee is planning to organize an open briefing on the outcome of the special meeting early next month, where it will highlight its achievements. Regarding other thematic issues, the committee paid attention to further enhancing and promoting its engagement with a broad range of civil society actors, including women's organizations, throughout its activities. The committee also made efforts to invite civil society organizations, including from Africa and Asia, to its meetings, ensuring diversity and inclusivity of civil society representation. Similarly, the committee and CTED continue to ensure that gender is integrated as a cross-cutting issue through the CTED's activities. The committee ensured greater participation of women in the special meeting of the Counter-Terrorism Committee in Mumbai and New Delhi. 40% of speakers of the special meeting were women. The ICT panel had 7 women out of a total of 11 speakers. The committee also intends to organize a closed briefing on integrating gender into counter-terrorism responses next month. The chair of the Counter-Terrorism Committee participated in the Malaga conference on 11 May 2022, highlighting that the protection of human rights should be an important aspect of the global fight against terrorism, and states therefore have a responsibility to protect their nationals and others against the threat of terrorist acts by taking positive measures consistent with international law, including human rights law, and bringing the perpetrators of such acts to justice. Mr. President, the committee's core mandate includes monitoring and assessing the implementation of relevant Security Council resolutions with the assistance of CTED and facilitating the delivery of technical assistance for capacity building while paying full attention to relevant issues to states' international human rights obligations. Acting on behalf of the committee, CTED resumed the on-site assessment visits in April this year amidst the lingering challenge by the pandemic. During the year, 10 assessment visits were conducted in Africa, the Americas, Central Asia, Europe, Middle East, the Pacific, and Southeast Asia. CTED, in line with its mandate, continued to engage with experts in civil society, academia, think tanks, and the private sector to support the efforts of the CTC to advance implementation of various Security Council resolutions. The committee, with the support of CTED, also continued to facilitate the delivery of technical assistance to member states. In this regard, the committee and CTED have continued to strengthen the cooperation with the United Nations Office of Counter-Terrorism, or UNOCT, and other implementing partners within the Global Counter-Terrorism Coordination Compact and with international and regional organizations. The online platform of the Compact now consists of 27 visit reports, including over 800 recommendations for technical assistance needs. CTED is also a key partner in UNOCT's global programs, contributing to the direction of the programs, the design of technical assistance, and integrating key recommendations and analysis of the committee. The committee and CTED continued to raise awareness of new and emerging terrorism trends and challenges and promote the policies of the Council and the guidelines of the committee, as well as international best practices with a view to assisting member states' implementation efforts. CTED, in accordance with its mandate and working with the Global Research Network, also proactively identified and published new analytical products on these terrorism trends and challenges. Together with the United Nations Institute for Disarmament Research and the United Nations Counter-Terrorism Center of the UNOCT, CTED launched under the Global Counter-Terrorism Coordination Compact Working Group on Border Management and Law Enforcement the technical guidelines to facilitate the implementation of Security Council Resolution 2370 of 2017 and related international standards and good practices on preventing terrorists from acquiring weapons. Mr. President, finally, I wish to convey my deep thanks and appreciation to the members of the committee, CTED, the committee secretariat, and my team for their commitment and dedicated support, which allowed the committee to continue to successfully deliver on its mandate. Thank you.
I thank Ambassador Kamboj for her briefing. I now give the floor to Ambassador De La Fuente Ramirez, Chair of the Security Council Committee